My people, we back at it one more time, one more again. Before you do anything, you're gonna have to click on that first link, or the second link, not the statistical one, the dictionary one. I want you to click on that one first. We're gonna see what dictionary.com has to say about Mr. Charlie before we break off into it. Now, older slang, disparaging and offensive, a term used to refer to a white person, a term used to refer to white people collectively. And a more, I won't say in depth, but a more detailed take on it is from Wikipedia. And you know how I feel about Wikipedia. I typically don't listen to a damn thing they have to say. But Mr. Charlie is a pejorative or derogative or negative term formerly used within the African American community to refer to an imperious white man. Imperious being somebody who assumes authority or takes authority without justification. Arrogant, high handed, right? Commanding, overbearing, whatever word you want to use to put in there. However, occasionally it refers to a black man who is arrogant and perceived as acting white. We won't bother with that anymore. Mr. Charlie. Let me just break it down to y'all. See, Mr. Charlie been up to no good, right? That first link is to this spot called Statista, Statista.com. And I'm not here to pump up or blow up the head of Mr. Charlie, right? Whether you're a nigga who acts white or you just a dirty ass white dude, doesn't really matter to me. Number of mass shootings in the United States between 1982 and July 2023 by shooters' race or ethnicity. Mind the fact, since 2013, the source defines a mass shooting as any single attack in a public place with three or more fatalities, in line with the definition by the FBI. Before 2013, a mass shooting was defined as any single attack in a public space with four or more fatalities. Okay, so they dropped it by one whole death, and so you got to realize they've had their own way to look at a mass shooting. This is just from the last 41 years. We're going to look at the numbers. There have been 13 unknown or unclear incidents of who committed the mass shooting. There have been 3 incidents where the shooter was Native American. There have been 5 incidents where the individual is classified as other. I'll go back to that in a moment. There are 10% or 10 acts, not 5% and not 5 acts, 10 acts of Asian individuals. There we go. 12 acts of Latino individuals, 26 acts committed by black people, and 76 acts committed by white folks. Now, I know people are like, Meech, what does that have to do with anything? Listen and let me explain myself, and I got you. What we've been dealing with, right? So this imperious, this arrogant, domineering individual, commanding individual is responsible for the most of all the so-called mass shootings. They literally have 3 times as many as black people. Now, what my point is that you need to realize you're in white heaven. Because if you let them tell you, you would believe that we're the problem, that we're the violent ones, right? Um, but these numbers bear out a totally different understanding. Question: of the mass shootings with the people who were considered others, where there's 5 of them, and then the unknown and unclear. Let's say the others are individuals who are multi ethnic people. So they come from one ethnic background and another, and they didn't want to be. They didn't identify them as whatever. Okay, that's fine. But the unknown and unclear, I'm willing to vote big a big amount of money that most of those belong to the white and maybe a couple belong to the black or the Latino or something like that. But I'm willing to bet out of that 13 unclear incidents, they almost all belong to the white. My point being this: an imperious individual, a Mr. Charlie, an arrogant individual is the only kind of individual that could carry out a mass shooting. Right on? So when you have these numbers that you're looking at, why there's 26 incidents of black people, remember the other meaning for Mr. Charlie is a black person that acts white. Was popping, big bro. Right on. Right on. Top of the day, brother. And I'm saying all the things that I'm saying to say this. A term, and I know people are like, how can you draw the two things together? It's as simple because it tells us in the definition, it generally refers to white people collectively. However, there's a caveat on on the Wikipedia, and I know a lot of people don't find Wikipedia credible. However, I found that to be an interesting take that the term Mr. Charlie also means pretty much a super uppity nigga who thinks he's better than other black people. Now, why I think that's so important to look at and to analyze is because now we're looking at again now there's these incidences. We don't even need to get into the actual who did what, where, why. I can guarantee you. So the survey time period was from 1982 to July 5, 2023. We didn't already had a couple mass shootings since then. So I could make that 78. 78 plus 13. What is that? 91? Right. You're talking about almost 100 incidents. And I know me being uh that's me saying that the tacit understanding that the unknown, unclear races who perpetrated a certain crime, I'm contending that they're white or that they would be classified or identified as white. Um, the reason why they only have so many more incidents than now I'm gonna break something down to my brothers and sisters. The closest thing to a white person in the black neighborhood is a drug dealer, is a pimp, is the murderer, killer for hire, because they acted in an imperious manner. Do they not think that they're commanding? Do they not think they're domineering? Do they not think that they have the high hand? Are they not overbearing? See, when I break it down and you start to listen to it like that, you start to realize, like, oh, shit. Right. You have way more of black people who want to be like white folks than all the other groups, no matter what. So you can say that the Asians are lockstep with white folks and the Latinos are lockstep with white folks. You could even try to argue natives are lockstep with white folks. But the thing that you cannot say is that black people are not lockstep with white folks. So when you have and the numbers bear it out, okay, so the Native Americans are the smallest group ethnically as far as any group I can think of right now in the US. It's probably less natives than there are Jews in the country, so-called Jews. Point being this: when you have only 3 incidents over a 41-year period with a group of people who have been known to be hyper aggressive, drunks, and have hella problems with the police, they only have 3 incidences where they killed at least three, possibly four individuals at a time in one hit. In one hit. Latinos, if you're telling me that there's not almost 100 million of them motherfuckers here in America, You lying. And they only have 12 recorded incidents of them doing that. Here in the US, that is. In Mexico, totally different. Then you get to blacks. Blacks have as many incidents as Latino, Asian, and Native Americans. Let that sink in. That black people have they have as many mass shooting incidents as many as three different ethnic groups. And the only so-called ethnic group to have more shootings like that than black people are the white people. Mr. Charlie, aka the high-handed one. So it's difficult for me to not talk about this. And and I didn't want to get carried away when all the stuff was happening because I had a little situation take place the other week, you know, and God is great because everything done worked itself out and done smoothed itself out. But I had to put the hands on somebody, a Mr. Charlie, and what I found most awkward about it because this was like so the shooting in Orlando was last Saturday, so this would have been the Wednesday before that Saturday. Right on, I had gotten into a scuffle. Uh, wasn't messing with nobody. And the long story short story shorter, the dude trying to be a Mr. Charlie, the dude trying to be a Mr. Charlie, trying to be overbearing or whatever. I'm at home. I'm not at work. I'm not out and about. I don't have to retreat nowhere. I don't have to, by law, I don't have to de escalate this situation because I'm already in a place where I haven't done anything to anyone. I'm on my way to wash my clothes. But before that, I had spoke some words to the manager. Nothing rude, nothing invasive. There was just a disagreement about something. So I told her she should come back up to the unit and recheck on the situation. When I'm going down to bring my clothes down, I'm angry about the situation and I'm saying something aloud to myself about, man, if somebody come out here talking crazy to me, I'm gonna throw this whole thing of clothes I got on their ass. And as I'm walking down the stairs, the dude says something, he says something sideways, and I'm like, what? I'm like, hey man, carry on. Now, mind you, I live on the fifth floor. The laundry room's on the second floor. I need you guys to put this into your head. I gotta walk down 3 stories to get there if I don't want to take the elevator. So I walk down the 3 stories. This dude follows me from the third floor to the second floor. Okay, boom. You're talking, you're saying whatever. I tell this dude to carry on. Hey, man, do what you got to do, man. Carry on about your day. Have a good day. That's like what I say to him. I keep walking. This motherfucker follows me. Okay. Now I'm at the door to the laundry room. And I'm like, look, dude, you need to go ahead and, you need to go somewhere. This dude follows me into the laundry room. Okay. Right hand to God. The Most High God is my witness. I set my clothes down. I get my quarters out to get ready to start washing my clothes. This dude is still, he's talking to me still. I'm like, look, dude, we're done here. It, I don't have, you know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing else to say to this guy. I'm like, look, man, get out my face. You know what I'm saying? Almost at the top of his lungs. I don't have to fucking go anywhere. Why did he do that? Before I knew it, I socked him. Before I knew it, he was on the ground and I was stuffing him with punches. And I'm like, have you had enough yet? Now I don't jump on his back and try to choke him out or do no UFC type of shit to him. No, I don't do none of that to him. But I'm yamming him. We get into a little scuffle. After I best him with the grappling. Yes, I had to best him grappling. I bested him just like that too. After we're leaving, I'm walking about the room and I'm like, motherfucker, you attacked me. Right on? You attacked me. I didn't attack you. I struck you first, but I did not attack you. You walked up on me. Bottom line, I see this dude 2 nights ago. I happen to go get a beer real quick. I see this dude as I'm walking in. This motherfucker's rattled. He's like, oh shit. Right? He went from being Mr. Charlie to Mr. Mouse in one sitting. One sitting. I didn't have to try to crush his head on it. And I wanted to do something violent to him when I was down there. But really though, I felt like he was trying to stand up for somebody and he didn't know that this person's already in the wrong. You feel me? But now you in the wrong with him. So he caught that ass whooping. That's a Mr. Charlie. This is white heaven though. if we didn't live in white heaven, if this wasn't a land where they've done everything in their power to subvert and to undermine people who look a certain way and come from a certain lineage, it wouldn't be like that. He wouldn't have felt comfortable enough to walk up on me like that. But it's no different than that nigga who I gave a pass to. Right. Not even a week before that, or roughly a week before that. But you guys get what I'm saying, though. And the dude who was talking, right, and that brother that was talking crazy, acting crazy, and don't think I, please, I think the white dude gave me a better scuffle than the nigga would have gave me. I just didn't scrape that dude because I was like, I don't have to put up with that. But I'm at home, like I said, so the ability or the willingness to defend myself is greater because I'm not going nowhere. I ain't did nothing to nobody. I ain't bothering nobody, and you're not gonna anyway. You're not gonna punk on me. But that nigga was acting like a Mr. Charlie. And just in case anybody thinks I'm tripping, I'm gonna pull that Wikipedia up so that way we got that. Mr. Charlie. Bang bang. Wikipedia. Let's read that again. And there's more to the article. Mr. Charlie is a pejorative, derogative expression formerly used within the African American community to refer to an imperious white man, imperious being somebody that's overbearing, commanding, domineering. Occasionally, it refers to a black man who is arrogant and perceived as acting white. That, my friends, is where that's my focus. See, I'm never angry when these dudes who go around here who act like a white person eventually get treated like a white person. And when I say get treated like one, I'm talking about when white folks do each other wrong, right on? And I'm do each other wrong. I love when they get that hit. Not the nigga wake up call. No, 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 no. You don't get no nigga wake up call. You ain't get one of those. We're gonna treat you just like a white person. See, I'll give you a prime example of a Mr. Charlie. So what's his name? Old boy, Enrique Tario for the Proud Boys, right? Because we all anybody looking at that dude can tell if he is not at least part black, I don't know what he is. But let's just say dude is half, right? Let's just say he got an actual nigga parent. He's a Mr. Charlie. Right on? And guess what they did to his ass? 17 years. 17 of them. 17 of them. That's how white you are, homie. We're going to show you how we treat our own when we think that they're dangerous and they're a threat. Because that's what they do. When white folks think when white people think another white guy is dangerous, they try to lock that motherfucker up forever. Or they lock him up for such a long period of time, they'll lock him up from the prime of his life to his twilight years. We got you. Okay, you 42 right now. You feeling yourself? Let's see how you feel in 20 years. You see what I'm saying? Right. You still a relatively young man at 41, 42, even 45, 50 years old. You're relatively young. Let's see how you feel in 20 years. You went from being 45, okay, to being 62. You're not hella old, but man, you wish you were 45 again. Trust me. So it's one of those things where they give it out the same way. Mr. Charlie, again, the murderers in the black community. Only an arrogant piece of shit thinks that they can go around killing people, murdering folks with impunity and do not have to face the consequences. You know who else did that? The Klan. Right. All these niggas out here running around bragging that they got bodies. I bet you ain't got no white bodies. Let me go ahead and repeat myself. Your favorite rapper who you claim is claiming taking scalps. I bet you they ain't got no white scalps. I put money on that. Top, middle, and bottom dollar, nigga. A dollar to a dime. Fuck it. I'll put everything on that. So when I say what I've said, I'm not tripping. Those 26 incidents. See, here's the funniest part about this. White folks go and blast off on niggas all the time. Right. What do you think some of those unsolved homicides and shit like that are in Chicago? Do you really think it's all niggas doing all that? I laugh at it and say, oh, guns are so accessible. They're not free. They're not free. Takes money to get that gun, typically. And if they're going to give you a gun, you got to put some work in to get the gun. And it still ain't free. So when you have a situation, a dynamic where for sure, we can say we know, we can probably name at least 10 different incidents where white folks went and fucked up more than 3 black people. For sure. My question is this, though. How do you justify having smoke for me, but then got no smoke for them, even though they're the ones really acting like a white person? Right. How can they justify having smoke for Meech, but you got no smoke for the dope dealers that are just like white folks? You know, y'all do realize, right, that they use black people? They used us. And I'm going to break this down. So when they want to find out how bad something really is, right, no matter what the narcotic is, like, for example, when they brought opium here, they already knew how bad it was. They did. But what they did was they said, okay, fuck this. We're gonna one up it. We're gonna see, because remember, in China, the French, English, British, Londoner soldiers, sometimes German in some cases, they were doing pure opium. I need y'all to really put this into your heads. They were using pure opium. Pure. Not cut, not stepped on. When they brought that stuff over here, they turned it into heroin. That's how much they hate you. That's how much they hate you. That's how much they hate me. Right. That when they brought it here, and then guess what they got hooked to it first. That's right. It was a big deal. It was a smack. Was a huge deal in the 20s and the 30s. It was a major deal. It was the first real hefty narcotic that black people could get their hands on. Not called alcohol. The only vice not called alcohol they could get their hands on, because you got to remember, marijuana wasn't illegal up until the 30s, and then in the, I want to say like 1933 or something like that, it became federally illegal officially, like for real. So you can't even use that because you have to go with the actual times. That being said, you're not going to tell me that the murderer in the black community, the pimp in the black community, the drug dealer in the black community, and the individual that is culpable and complicit and a culprit in all these activities are not Mr. Charlie's, are not Miss Ann's. Because a Miss Ann, I don't know why I waited this long to say this, but a Miss Ann, the term, the expression was used during the 19th century, much like the frequent equivalent, female equivalent, Miss Ann. Miss Ann was an expression used among slaves to refer to the woman of the house, usually the wife of the slave owner. and any other white woman that the slaves had to serve. Mr. Charlie was the slave owner, or any other white man exploiting or being condescending towards slaves. These ought to understand. I'm not worried about Miss Ann, though. See, Miss Ann got Mr. Charlie's ass whooped last week. You follow what I'm saying? Fist is feeling good, power back in it, ready to do it to somebody else. If I don't want to put my hands on nobody. I don't want nobody putting their hands on me. But if they make me defend myself, if I'm enticed to defend myself, I will invoke castle doctrine. And that does not mean me having to use a firearm to use castle doctrine. Just like you don't have to use a firearm to invoke the stand your ground law. Not sure if you know this. Right on, stand your ground does not just apply to firearms. It applies to the fact that you're going to stand there and willfully combat whatever you think is an issue or a threat to your persons. Right. Mr. Charlie. Right. And I know black people thought I was going to be talking the most shit about white folks. But I'm talking shit about niggas too, because it's way too important that we see, we recognize, we acknowledge, and we can say, okay, once again, 76 mass shootings since 1982 and July 2023 of this year have been recorded by white folks. 26 since that same time have been recorded by black people. 12 by Latino, 10 by Asian, 5 by others. Others being, like I said, possibly biracial or folks who don't identify with any one ethnicity. Native American have 3, and there's 13 unknown, unclear. The only way there could be 26, now I always laugh, because they say the Asians are lockstep. Once again, I said this earlier. They say the Asians are lockstep with white supremacy. They say the Latinos are lockstep with white supremacy. Yet, if I add both, and I don't want to hear nobody trying to tell me no bullshit. If I add 10 plus 12 is only 22. Even if I add the other known ethnic group, which is the Native Americans, that's only 25. You 3 other groups, and you still have one more incident than them all. Now, white folks got more than all the groups combined, because 26 plus 12 is 38, plus 10 is 48, plus 13 is 61, plus 5 is no, that's right. No, that's right. That's right. 66, 69. So white folks still have 7 more incidents than all the other incidents combined. Right. So nobody's got them beat. But to just realize and understand that the next group right next to them is the group that cries the loudest about how wrong they're treated. Let that sink the fuck in. You niggas cry so fucking loud about how wrong you get treated. But yet, you're the next worst thing to white folks in this country when it comes to gun violence. You think there's okay, let's add all the Asians and all the Latinos together. Do you think there's more or less of them than black people in this country? You think it's right around the same? That being said, people, once again, niggas talk all this shit, but don't want to just look at these are the facts. Okay, you want to dispute with the FBI? Go talk to them. You go get mad at them. You tell them they need to have somebody in every neighborhood in every city making sure that this shit is right. I don't care. I'm just going based on what they've presented. And what they've presented is damning information. That the closest thing to a white supremacist, the closest thing to a Mr. Charlie is a nigga. Mm. That's why I don't really have a lot of smoke for the mass shooters who go and do the cowardly shit that they do. Because niggas do the same cowardly shit and nobody has no smoke for them. Their parents don't turn them in. Their cousins, their aunties don't turn them in. Nobody hands these people over. But you want me to be angry at the devil for being the devil. And y'all claim to be the apple of God's eye. And there's something wrong with me for pointing out that some of y'all are Mr. Charlies. Some of y'all are Miss Anns. White Heaven that did a number on you niggas, man. I'm not confused about it. And like I said, the ones that are closest to Mr. Charlie are the ones who claim that they're the furthest, that the ones who you claim to be gangster, hustlers, writers, la da da, la di da. Guess what? Them are the ones that are closest to the white folks. In actual, the way that they treat things, the way that they go about things. Right. Otherwise, why would they go around killing people with impunity? Otherwise, why would they peddle poison to their own? They don't make it a campaign to go to other neighborhoods and try to sell that because ain't nobody having that. But you'll let a Chinese guy come sell crack to your people. You'll let a Mexican guy come sell crack to your people. You'll let an African come sell crack to your people. You'll let them Russians come over here and sell that shit to your people. But yet you want to complain about Mr. Charlie when you are Mr. Charlie. The next time these niggas complain about white supremacy, tell these bitch ass niggas to take a good look in the mirror. Right. It's hard to be imperious and be a bootlick. Do they call drug dealers bootlicks even though every dope dollar they make eventually helps the federal government some way, shape, and form? Has to. Unless you're just going to save every dollar and never spend it. Has to. These guys are funding black op missions, don't even realize it. And got the nerve to be mad at me. Got the nerve to be mad at anybody speaking any kind of real sensible, understandable, I won't even call it just baseline truth. It's obvious. So they're not so they're not a Mr. Charlie or a Miss Ann. Right. Didn't Bone Thug say something like raising restless thieves and prostitutes? Young homie, think before you shoot. Murderer? Right. That's that's Mr. Charlie activity. Making a woman, enticing a woman, encouraging a woman to sell her body is Mr. Charlie activity in this land. I'm not talking about no ancient biblical shit. I'm talking about right here, right now. Right. Going around murdering folks, thinking that as long as I kill the next man trying to stop me, it's all good. That's Mr. Charlie activity. They murdered the people that were on this land and took it from them. Don't ever say it's not. Use vice, i.e., alcohol, to bring people down, i.e., dog fighting, shit like that, right? Illegal ass shit. The only people that engage in those kind of activities outright are the actual white folks of the community. Because we all know that white people are criminals. It's not a secret. It's not no mystery or nothing. Right. You follow what I'm talking about? There is no paradigm shift here. This is just what it is. Because you can't tell me that, oh, well, they're not all thieves. Okay, so how'd they get this land then? If they accepted, if you accept a gift from a thieving murderer, even though you didn't thieve and murder nobody yourself, you're no less guilty of having that gift. But it's even worse when you ask them to go out and to go do that. because now that's blood on your hands. That's why this country's going down the way that it is. I have yet to see anybody say about the little punk ass white boy who shot up the spot down there in Jacksonville. I have yet to hear a single voice say, "Hey, you know what's crazy? For a place like Jacksonville, even if it's the Dollar Tree, not one of these people was armed. But yet you think that black people can go toe to toe." Listen to my logic. 3 people dead. But there was a couple, no, not one of them had a gun. And if they did, they didn't engage. Right. You follow what I'm saying? Get my point here. When's the last time you heard of and Buffalo might be the only example where the security guard was the only guy that was armed. That was it. And he got killed. And they said he was working on some kind of project. Mind that fact. Mind all that. None of those people were armed. I mean, from the looks of it, nobody tried to defend themselves. You don't have to let somebody shoot you just because they have a gun. You are aware that you can fight back no matter how that looks. Right. You don't need permission to defend yourself. Ever. That's the thing, though. Those people who got killed, I don't think none of them are doing anything wrong. But you're not going to convince me that non-Mr. Charlies of the black neighborhood are fit to stand up against Mr. Charlies with guns who are not from the black neighborhood. When the ones who are the closest thing to them are terrified of them or they're walking lockstep with them. Right. It doesn't work. It can't work. It's impossible. However, we have a contingent of individuals who believe that somehow this concept of black empowerment is going to take place when the same individuals that you're talking and telling that need to be empowered are the same ones taking the power from you. They're literally siphoning the power from their people. So how can you ever be empowered if your greatest enemy is within? The enemy without is nothing. We know about the enemy without. The enemy within is the problem. And yet they won't speak on that. So they'll never have true what they call black empowerment. It'll never happen. It will never manifest the way that they think. Ever. Because they're not willing to look themselves in the mirror and say, I have parlayed, okay, and put forth an energy or an effort that looks likened to, tantamount, or just about the same as the Mr. Charlie. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They are the issue. Once again, I'm here to speak what needs to be spoke on. Because if they go on thinking B1, okay, so is it B1 to sell dope to your people? Do you know how many niggas go into that to those comment sections calling themselves B1? You know how many of those niggas who are murderers and killers donate to these guys? And they think that washes the blood off their hands. They think that takes the poison out the community, that the seeds of discord they've sown among brethren will never be removed. Ever. There's only so many hitters in any one city. I told y'all this before. Most killings are perpetrated by the same individuals until they're killed. And then the cycle continues. A lot of the killings that take place are revenge killings. Most, if not all. I remember this nigga BGS IB Moore, man. This is like 5 years ago. I'll never forget this. This man tried to argue me down and said that the people in Chicago were killing each other over dope and territory. And I was like, bro, it's revenge killings. Look it up. When I did my rebuttal to what he was saying, he never brought it up ever again. Never. Not to me. When I came around, because these niggas know better. I'm going to go get the exact information I'm looking for, present it to you. You can argue with the information. Don't try to argue with me because I didn't put that fucking website up. You go and you find the domain server and you email them and you tell them about how much you disagree with their opinion because I don't give a fuck. But I will say this part, though. I'll be damned if I let old ass niggas like that tell young niggas some bullshit. That, oh, those guys in Chicago were killing each other over drugs and territory. It's not the 90s, bro. It's not even the early 2000s, nigga. What the fuck are you talking about? These little dudes who are out here killing are killing for revenge and vengeance. There's a small amount of them murdering folks to get their kicks off. Sure. But there's way more of them who are killing because they felt like this has gone unmatched for far too long. Or I just won't let it stand. And they're willing to put themselves in the limelight, put themselves in the line of fire. Because they understand that once they do this, if anyone knows that they done it, now they're on the chopping block. That's just how it works. But who got us to being like this? That's right, Mr. Charlie. Who told the Mr. Charlies of the black neighborhood, as long as you sell dope where you live at, I don't care what you do. As long as the killing's not too much, I don't care what you do. Yeah, we'll take a couple of those little chocolate whores with us. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mr. Charlie dealing with the other Mr. Charlie. You know, the black ass, dark skinned nigga with a perm. Who so badly talk shit about white folks, but yet you all up their ass. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Nigga blacker than my couch with a perm. Right? He ain't one of them black ass niggas with naturally straight hair or hair that naturally relaxed like that. Nope. Black as a tire with an afro. But you want to imbue your scalp in self-hate so that way the other Mr. Charlies know you really hate yourself. Because only a nigga that hates themselves is going to do that. You have to hate yourself. Nobody is going to tell me that they in their right mind love themselves and put harsh chemicals close to their brain. Nobody. Tell that to another person. Don't tell that to me. You can tell me you love yourself and all that. That's cool. Do not tell me. Don't tell me that. Because I see how you treat yourself. Overindulgence is not self-love or self-care. Right. Am I saying that, oh, it's all these sellout Uncle Tom ass nigga, Uncle Charlie niggas? Because that's who they really are. Fuck Uncle Tom. These niggas is Uncle Charlies. Think about it. They want me and you to really act as if that 26 incidents is is 26 too many. Coming from a people who claim, once again, claim their biggest issue in this country is white folks. I can't think of but the one incident at and I can't even use that. Black people are equal opportunists. I can't think of one mass shooting that I know of where the brother went in and only killed white folks. I think I could think of one maybe. That was that brother, but that was different. He had a dispute. Remember that? I don't know if that was in California, some kind of dispute with his neighbor, and he ended up killing three of them. And it was a black dude who did that. He shot it out with the police. They killed him, right? He shot a couple of the cops and all that shit too. That was earlier this year. But outside of him, I can't and on that level, I cannot say that he was at fault for why that happened. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, he just flipped his wig and went off. Nah. What I will say is this though, is that more times than not, black people are harming other black people. Now we're equal opportunists, but we don't go out of our way to harm. I I can't think of one black dude that I can think of. Not one. Right on that I mean that I'm talking about that has ever made the headlines. Not a nigga who went and shot the house up and got away with it. I'm talking about I can't think of one that's been exposed as a mass serial murder slash killer and been exposed and they had a manifesto that said I hate this group of individuals and I'm going after every single one of them type of shit. I can't think of one dude like that. And if you guys know of anybody or can think of anybody, type them in, put them in down there so that way I can become educated and become knowledgeable. Um, However, it's unbelievable that you have this concept where we don't want to look at ourselves and say, we're the problem. We are the problem. Us. If we just focus on ourselves and become completely selfish and say, you know what? We started this, so we have to fix it. We're going to be much better off. And we have to start within. I've said this, I will say it again. I believe that most other groups, once they see us take out our trash and begin that process, they're going to begin to take theirs out as well. Once they see that we're willing to put ourselves through a pain that's unbearable, you're talking about killing brothers, killing sisters, you're talking about killing people that you love, right on, that you care about, this nigga ain't living right though. They're not living right. You're an active part of the problem and you don't want to change. Let me get this off my chest before I go any further. Prayer is not repentance. You can go home and pray every day to the Most High God and say, forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned. You can go through all the motions every day. What I'm going to tell you is that you did not repent. To repent is to turn from your ways. You cannot repent in any other way. Did you know that? To repent is to turn from your ways. So when you repent, that means you stop doing what you're doing and you start to live a whole nother way. Because you're repenting, you're gonna suffer. You went from selling dope to a minimum wage job. So right. But you can say, oh, Meech, man, I don't gotta do that. I don't, no, nigga, fuck all that. Okay, well then you don't really believe. You use all the talk of the Most High God, it's all lip service. And you're the devil. And you're one, and once again, you are Mr. Charlie, and that's why you have to go. For no other reason. Same thing with the sisters. Sure, there's a few killers out there, but most of them are whores. Few of them are drug dealers too, but most of them are whores. Right on. They want to have a boyfriend with 3 or 4 side niggas who she sees off and on, gets money from still, right? Backwards. Backwards. You're no less a whore just because you have one man that you claim you love and he may or may not be turning a blind eye to what's going on. He just may be totally unaware altogether. That has nothing to do with me. But I'm saying to live like that, you can pray every time after these niggas blow your back out, and you know what I'm saying, and you do whatever you do with them. Going home, brushing your teeth before you kiss this man on his face, talking about God forgive me, looking ass. Please don't ever let him find out, looking ass. Sorry, Miss Ann, you are no different. Thank you, Miss Ann. You are no different than the white slave owner's wife going out there fucking on them niggas and telling those niggas you better not tell nobody. No different. They don't want to hear that part. They don't want to hear that they're whores. They don't want to hear that. Oh, a man can be a player, but I have to. No, he's a whoremonger. He's just like you. He's a fornicator, no different than you. And he loves it. He relishes in it. Won't walk away from it. Has never tried to walk away from it. Tells himself there's been worse people than me. And where do you think those worst people are going? And do you think you're better than the so-called good people? You think God is going to look at you and favor you over the people that did their best to keep the tenants, over someone who willfully ignored what he said? Went against what he said on purpose. Let me tell y'all something. One of the funniest Mr. Charlies on the internet, I won't say his name, but if you've ever been to his channel, you'll know what I'm about to say as I say it. He'll say something along the line of white supremacy controls both sides of the argument. So, in essence, that's an admission that he feels compelled to control both sides of the argument. The only issue with that is that when you say things like the white man copied the Bible is an ancient Kemetic text. But then you go on to, okay, so they copied the Bible as an ancient Kemetic text. Okay. So you are admitting that the Egyptians called themselves abominations. Or you're saying they mistranslated that? And a mistransliteration? So what parts did they get right? You follow what I'm saying? See, but because you gotta have a domineering, a high-handed, a commanding mentality. Arrogance is what that is. It has to be arrogance. If it's not arrogance, somebody please inform and tell me what it is. One of the worst things I believe I've ever witnessed this year, just this year. Do y'all remember when when the white boy Daniel Penny killed our brother and they tried to say that homeboy was having a mental health breakdown, right? Now my question is this: who in their right mind who in their right mind saw that brother that looked like a nigga to me hold the man's arm? But everybody got mad at the white dude, Daniel Penny. Didn't have no smoke for the dude that looked like Jordan Neely holding his arm and essentially having him killing him. Right. Nobody. But that dude held that man's arm. That nigga is a Mr. Charlie. But the funniest part is these dudes who talk about controlling both sides of an argument are no different. You know how I know these niggas are special? They have no smoke for Big Pharma. None. I've never heard these guys say you shouldn't take prescription medication. Never, not once. Like 95, 98% of almost all prescribed medications have opium in it. Or some sort of opiate in it. What? Most of the pills people take are laced with opiates. Most. They have no issue with you taking those, but have a problem with you growing your own marijuana plant and smoking your own bud. Because apparently the plant just grows magically every time somebody puts a fucking marijuana seed in the ground. It's forced to cultivate. It has to cultivate because weed is just a super fruit. Huh. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. You have to work for it to get there. Only difference is that you don't have to chemically alter it. You don't have to do anything to it. Real opium is not chemically altered. They put slits on the opium plant, right, right at where the neck of the leaf is at, right on, and they get these little beads to come out, and that's how they get the opium. That's pure opium, the real stuff, the raw stuff. Right. But that's not what they're giving to the people. No, they're giving them these wizard and witch, warlock cocktails and asking people to tell them if they experience any side effects to let them know what they are. And these guys have no smoke for Big Pharma, but got smoke for a nigga like me who will roll up a joint that the marijuana I purchased legally, by the way, didn't have to go buy it on the streets or no stupid shit like that, and got smoke. Got all kinds of smoke for niggas like me, but got no smoke for the people that are in there that are literally selling dope to people in the neighborhood who sip lean all day. Okay, God knows what they're smoking in that blunt, and got the nerve to be mad at me. That's because they missed their Charlies. If they couldn't take it, couldn't hack it just now, chances are, if they had to leave at this part, chances are, I struck a nerve. There's a little Mr. Charlie or little Miss Ann in them. You dig what I'm saying? I'm real about it. I got no need to lie. Why would I lie on myself? Or why would I lie to you? Got no smoke for Big Pharma, but got smoke for people that don't want their children to have seizures. So they give them CBD drops. Only thing to keep the seizures down. Mad at people with terminal illnesses, and none of the things that the doctors are giving them gives them any kind of calm. Right. Some people don't like the way it makes them feel. That's fine. But you're not going to tell me taking a prescribed medication, something that could literally, the side effects could be death, is safer than me smoking a joint. Never. You're never going to convince me of that. But Mr. Charlie has y'all convinced that taking medication is the way to get better. And on top of that, Mr. Charlie got the niggas in the hood convinced that selling the same sort of poison, just in a different form, is just fine. So long as you're making money. Because if you wouldn't sell it to them, somebody would, right? The question I have is where would that somebody get those narcotics from? No, thank you. Before I get up out of here in like the next 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, I got to say this. Like I said, a whole lot of people think they're doing just fine. They think their situation is okay, so everything they do is okay. When that couldn't be further from the truth. When they should be telling themselves, I need to change what I'm doing. I have to change what I'm doing. Otherwise, where I'm at, the situation that I'm in is going to devour me. I think it's so weird that dudes get involved in selling dope, and then the guys who they're involved, doing business with, in so many ways, threaten or extort these niggas into doing business still. It wouldn't be unheard of for the connect or the or the middleman to the connect virtually threaten somebody for trying to step away because they're used to the money that you bring in and they don't care about the destruction that it brings to your community. Only the white devil is like that. Only the white devil go to another country right now to this day, ask people to harvest a natural resource that should not be over harvested, kill off, run off, scare off the people who are most opposed to what they're doing. One of the greatest things I think I've ever seen people do is be so scared of a basic truth that they'll run from it. And then when they're faced and versed with it later, they like to come back around. Or to act like the shit I was saying, like now it's like I'll give you guys a prime example. Mr. Charlie tells you there's 24 hours in the day. Meat says there's 18 parts in the day. Meat says until that sun goes down, I gives a fuck what my clock says. It's still the day. I gives a fuck what the clock says until it comes back up. It's still the night. Whoa, whoa. Controversy, I know. But because I can think for myself, I'm willing to say things like that. So I can't help that I make people upset. I can't help that people get upset because they're in a situation where they feel as if they cannot help it or it just won't be helped, I should say. You're holding hands with the same very forces that you're claiming to be against. You're holding hands with the same very enemy that you say is your oppressor. You're virtually commending what they do by not having anything to say. It speaks volumes. It says more. The fact that black people won't remove themselves and totally displace themselves from negativity the best way that they can, it tells me that they want to be just like. How many black people do you know want to be like white people? Right. When I say white people, I mean pink swintillion. But how many black people do you know? Brown skin, Afro people do you know want to be like them? Be honest. Who knows at least 10 people like that? I do. I know at least 10. Talking about no, like black people that I can go get around. They want to be just like white folks. And have the nerve to tell me, have the audacity and unmitigated gall to tell me anything about them being racist. It does you no good to placate them by acting like you don't know. Because when you try to speak to it later, people like me don't want to hear that. You only saying that because they're not around. Do speak that same shit with them there. Right. These dudes be in such a rush to try to impress the same folks they call their enemies that they will depress their own people. Not oppress, depress them. Bring them all the way down, all the way low. You know what's depressing? When there's somebody who everybody put the time into, the energy into, like like one of those neighborhood athlete dudes who people, they bought them shoes, they did all that, they sent it to all the little camps just for that dude to go get killed, trying to be gangbanger, or to kill somebody else being gangbanger. You were supposed to bring the whole hood up. You were supposed to take us up out of this shit. Now look at you. You're dead or you're in prison forever, on the run forever. Or got out and now, you know what I mean? The talents that you had, you squandered them. They're done. Right. It happens to this very day. Now, it's not as often as see, back in the day, in the South, especially, I can't speak for the North, but in the South, when there was somebody special, the whole little village came together for that person. Right. Everybody put their pennies up for that person. Because we were hoping that they come back to us and do right by us. More cases than not, they did a little, but they didn't do enough. And not enough cases, you had people who did as much as they could do, and people just weren't grateful. I don't have to control narratives for you. I don't have to control anything. I want you to think for yourself. And the next time one of these dudes tells you, oh, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, and they're crying about it, and they're ask them, well, how do you feel about the white supremacists in the black neighborhood who wear black skin, wear afros, wear beards? So in some cases they don't, but they typically claim to be a nig, and they're everything bad. Hmm? What about them? What about those Mr. Charlies? You got any smoke for them? What about the Miss Anns that are pedophiles? Right. Once again, the other problem with women. A bunch of these women over sexualize little boys and little girls. Already talked about men pimping out their own daughters. What much more do you want me to say? But I need to talk about how the women do avert to the same shit. They're the same, but worse. Because here you are in a weaker vessel trying to take a. Here you are in a vessel really not fit to overwhelm anybody that's not another woman or just not a very, very weak man. Here you are trying to force somebody to do something, and you don't really have the physical means to do so. Wickedness at its finest. But ain't nobody gonna say nothing to her. Don't nobody got nothing to say. Bunch of those babysitters touching on little boys and doing shit to them they ain't got no business doing with those little boys. We're talking about young ladies, 13, 14 years old, taking advantage of little 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys. She's 16, 17. He's 11 or 12. She's taking advantage of him. Right. And you wonder why some of these niggas grow up to be over-sexualized. He'd been hitting skin since he was 10. And it really wasn't even his choice. Right. Or you wonder why they're just not attracted to black women in general. Because they've been through some shit like that. Right. They don't have to tell you that. They don't have to bring that out to you. There's a whole bunch of black men that have had black women in particular take advantage of them. Steal all their innocence from them and take advantage of them. And defile the young boy. But I'm supposed to be acting like what white folks do to niggas is just the worst thing ever. It's only the worst thing because they overstepped. If you believe in the Most High God, if you believe what's written down in the scripture, they were supposed to straighten us out. Like, tell us, yo, you're the people. The reason why you're here is because you done wrong. And everything we do to you, you actually deserve it because it didn't happen to your fathers. Is that what they done? No. No. These niggas are white supremacists, Uncle Tom's, Uncle Charlie's, Mr. Charlie's, okay? They have to be. Want to know how I know? Because they would willfully go against the scripture of the Bible and try to support that of the fucking Quran. Like that shit wasn't written barely 1,500 years ago. And their points of reference of anything of actual like credibility come from the Bible. Whoa. Whoa. So why should I take that side over the? You see what I'm saying? Right. And what is it? It wasn't enough to sell us into bondage and to break us down into nothing. Now you got to lie about who we are and our origins. Now you got to have my people confused about who they are and their origins. And then you have my people out here fighting and dying on hills that they have no business fighting and dying on. You're going down. Mr. Charlie, for that, you're going down. And for the Mr. Charlies that look like me, you're going down too. Right. I ain't talking about going around worshiping no freaking white Jesus. I'm talking about adhering to statutes and ordinances that people say have all these excuses for. Right. Black people have pinned all of us into a position that it's going to be difficult to get out. Not without making some necessary sacrifices. Unfortunate to say that, or fortunate. But I know this, when it's all said and done, they're going to be the ones, the people who have been the greatest detriment. They're going to be the ones that bite the dust the hardest. They are. If these white folks have never withheld from you, you're not a threat. If they've never tried, listen, if they, no disrespect to nobody. No, fuck it. I don't care about respect to nobody. No dishonor. No dishonor to nobody. If they're not interested in actively trying to stop you from doing anything, you're not a threat at all. If they're not trying to get in the way of the finances, you're not a threat. If they don't mind you being with your family, you're not a threat. How could you be? You're inundated into their fucking system. Everything you get comes from them. Everything. Right. Same niggas who think they're not Mr. Charlie's look at other black people with contempt. Say, oh man, that nigga ain't got shit because he ain't about shit. But how'd you get what you got? Oh, because you are about shit, huh? You didn't jump through none of the hoops that white folks asked you to jump through. You didn't, huh? They just gave you that fucking job because you're just so handsome and so beautiful. Huh? Right. Brothers and sisters, if you do not fit the description of those curses, they don't apply to you, you're not those people. How could it be? How could it be? Newsflash. If every piece of work you do takes a fucking power tool to do it, and a dirty ass immigrant can do that same fucking job with the same tools, that is not a skill of a blessing of hands to Judah. News flash. Or to the Danites. Niggas think they're special when they're just like Mr. Charlie, or they are a Mr. Charlie. The females think they're special when they're a Miss Ann, or they're, thank you, just like a Miss Ann. And want to fucking act like they got something going on. When it happens, and it's going to happen, when it happens, I'm not going to laugh at you. I'm not going to stop my hand. I'm not going to clap my hands or stomp my feet. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm going to say, see, they asked for that. They wanted that. That's what they desired the most. If they didn't desire that the most, then why did this happen? Thank you. Somebody desired that the most. One of the other parties. Thank you. They're not going to tell me, ain't no high yellow, half breed looking motherfucker who got loose ass hair going to tell me what it's like being a black person. I will no more tell them what it's like to be mixed. Whoa. Wow. And I'm not talking about light skin. I'm talking about, like, nigga, you are for real biracial. Okay? One of your parents is not a black person. They're not even half black. They're not even a quarter. They're just not a nigga. They're a non-black person. Right. Meats is like that. I have no love harbored in my heart for those that are the reason why my people are fucked off. Got smoke for me once again. Don't got no smoke for niggas who are trying to say that us and these shitty ass immigrants who are coming here are just alike. How are we just alike? When the fuck is the last time I broke into anybody else's country, came in that motherfucker uninvited, and then told their government that they need to support me and sustain my way of life until I get on my feet in their nation? I've never done anything like that. I wouldn't fucking know what it's like. We're not alike. We're not the same when we're not alike. Bitch ass niggas who talk like that, they better not be talking to me. We're not. We have zero in common. You know who else does, but you know who has something in common with them? Anybody that doesn't want to be black. Right. For all the niggas who don't want to be black, they don't mind inundating themselves into a culture that's not their own. They don't mind making excuses for all these other motherfuckers. They have, once again, they got no smoke for them. They got smoke for me. They mad at your boy because I'm one of the only, if not the only person to come at it from this exact point of view. You will never hear Meats begging for donations or talking about the aggregation of funds. You niggas aggregated $1 million to a museum that's literally useless to you all. You get no points for it. You get nothing for it. If the whole state of California goes fucking under, so does that museum. Right. For the hundreds of thousands of dollars you've donated to single individuals, where's your money at? Huh? Right. They're telling you about how white folks need to give y'all reparations while they're taking your hard-earned pennies from you and have a whole bunch of crafty ass ways to separate you from your money. Listen, as hard as you work for that money, these swindling, grifting ass niggas are working 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times as hard to separate you from that money. Hard to believe that, I know. But they're working to separate you from those dollars because it's their job to do that. If their job was to affect and to change things for black people, guess what? Things would have been changed and affected, effected. They haven't been. Right. And then the people who are changing stuff in the black community are not the grifters, okay? Are not the drug dealers, are not the pimps, are not the murderers. They're not the Mr. Charlies of the black neighborhood. Right. Black people need to start to understand this. If you have not yet to realize and stranglehold that little white person that lives in a whole bunch of black people, if you haven't strangled that little white person that lives in you, you've done yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a major disservice. That's the facts. That is the truth. Like I told my brother the other day, I said your DNA changes your whole life. They can't tell me that my DNA sequence is the same when I'm angry as it is when I'm upset. Right on? So, what you put out in this earth and what you tell and what you do to people, do for them, changes who you are. They're going to have to kill off that little person inside of them, and they're going to have to change who they are from the inside out. Again, scary ass, coward ass niggas ain't got no place around me. Nothing. A coward and a scary ass nigga can be arrogant. And they can be overbearing. Okay? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. See, it's too easy, too simple for the so-called dominant society to do the right thing. That would be the easy, simple thing to do. But they're like, these niggas is never going to do right. They're waiting. They're a ticking time bomb waiting to go off on themselves. But they're not going to do each other in until they see that the real justice that needs to be served is served. Understandably so. So the white guys should kill off all the other evil white folks, even though the niggas aren't going to kill off the evil black people. This is live, fam. I'm still live. But what makes black people think that white folks are going to kill each other off if niggas is going to stand around and let the murderers, pimps, drug dealers, and all around miscreants walk free? So you can practice mercy with your own, but we can't practice mercy with ours. That's a logical mindset for anyone to have. So having said that, is it not logical that they don't want to do anything to one another? Um, and whenever you get the time, bro, just run it back later because I done covered quite a few things. But let me just read this to you real quick so that way you can get what I'm getting at. You'll follow the gist of it. Okay, so first we're at the Wikipedia link, and it's Mr. Charlie. And it says Mr. Charlie is a pejorative expression or a derogative expression formerly used within the African American community to refer to an imperious white man or an overbearing or domineering or arrogant white man. Occasionally, occasionally, it refers to a black man who was arrogant and perceived as acting white. Now it goes on to say how Miss Ann is the female equivalent, la di da, la di da. But that wasn't the major thing. The major thing was number of mass shootings in the United States between 1982 and July 2023 by shooters, race, or ethnicity. And the survey was from 1982 to July 5th of this year. Supplementary notes. Since 2013, the source defines a mass shooting as any single attack in a public space with 3 or more fatalities, in line with the definition by the FBI. Before 2013, a mass shooting was defined as any single attack in a public space with 4 or more fatalities. So we have to realize that some of these mass shooting events, and I can't click onto the. I'm just not going to pay these guys to look at it, all of it. But what it is that these mass shootings, these numbers. So it says since 1982 to now, there's been 76 white perpetrators, 26 black perpetrators, 12 Latino, 10 Asian, 5 other, 3 Native American, and 13 unknown or unclear. Now, the point that I made when I was talking about all this, bro, was the fact that black people, you heard that part where it says Mr. Charlie can occasionally refer to a black man who's acting white. So no duh that Miss Ann to a black woman is like a black woman acting white. Okay, if you have, now this is the deepest thing. I told you, the Hispanics had 12 incidents of mass shootings from 1982 to 2023, this year, July 5th of this year. The Asians only had 10. Okay? The others had 5. The Native Americans had 3. The unclear had 13. Okay. White folks had 76. Black people had 26, respectively. Now, my thing is that, okay, white people have the most. That's obvious. But that should debunk the fact that black people are these uber violent, extra ultra violent creatures. When if you have 76 instances of them killing 3, possibly 4 or more individuals since 1982 till now, there's an unknowable number of incidents that they have killed at least one person or 2 or less, I should say. Right. One of the more infamous incidents I could think of is when that family in Ohio got killed. The whole family. Come to find out, 2 white dudes had done that shit. Right. That's the first one I can really think of, right? Recent times. Now, my point being this right here. I also brought up earlier that the only one that I could think of with the black people was was the brother earlier this year. I want to say down there in California, he got into a little shootout or he got into an argument with his neighbors. He ended up killing 3 of them. Okay. And then he shoots it out with the cops. One of the cops, he gets shot by the cops. He shoots several police. There was that brother earlier this year. But outside of him, I can think of not one black person, no, not one, that went out of their way to go and kill a bunch of white people. I just can't think of one. Maybe you could think of somebody, but I cannot think of one black person that suited and booted up and made it a point to go and only persecute white folks. I just can't. But that being said, though, I'm talking about the fact that black people, the 26 incidents that are recorded, is the next number to the 76 incidents. And what was funny is that black people, I'm saying, are it's going to make some black people upset when they hear it, but it's the truth. Black people are the closest thing to white supremacists outside of white supremacists. The closest thing. I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about mentality and actions. Okay? Because sure, any Spaniard is going to look more like a white dude any day. And even some of the Asians and some of the so-called $2 natives and all the other ones, right? Going to look more like a white person than me and you ever will. That's not the point, though. The point is that there's more black people who act like white folks than anybody else other than white people. That should be a major cause for concern. The reason why Africa is fucked over the way it is because of all the corrupt Africans who wanted to be like the corrupt Europeans that they were serving under. It's not because they just keep killing these guys off. You can't kill the whole continent. They wouldn't. It would go against the logic of who's going to do the work now. What? Those lazy ass Frenchmen? Those lazy ass Englishmen are going to go do the work? Those lazy ass Germans? They're the least lazy of the Europeans, but they're still lazy. Those lazy ass Germans going to go do the work? No. The lazy ass Italians going to go do that work? Huh? The lazy ass Spaniards? No. The Portuguese? No. None of them are going to go do that work in those mines. None of that dangerous ass work that those Africans engage in day to day. They're not doing that. But the Africans don't have enough sense to understand that they won't kill you. They can't kill you all, and they wouldn't kill you all. But these motherfuckers is so cowardly that just like niggas over here in America. Right. Right. Black people are so afraid to leave. If we left the workforce tonight, and I'm talking about tonight, right now, everybody just clocked off and left and said, fuck it, we done. If we all left the workforce tonight and never to return, one of two things is going to happen. One of them is going to happen for sure. This whole bitch is coming screeching to a grinding halt. You know what I'm saying? And then guess what? That's right. We got to see what these niggas want. And if we don't give them what they want, these niggas ain't going back. This whole shit is going down. Before they let you walk away from the job place, black man and black woman, know that they will enslave your black ass again. Before they just let you walk away and leave, they will enslave you. If they thought Mexicans could replace you, nigga, you would have never had a job in a factory after slavery in the first place. No shit. You'd have never had a job like that. So what makes you think now that they really want to try to replace you? They can't replace you. If they could have, they would have. It goes against all basic logic. Why would you let individuals who you feel are replaceable become an integral part of your society if they were that fucking expendable? Why would you do that? They ain't never enslaved no Mexicans. They ain't never enslaved no Middle East Indians. I'm talking about these white folks talking about brutalized slavery like the shit that they put niggas through. Never. And they had a chance to do this shit to them. Right. The Brits just gave the Chinese their independence, obviously through the threat of them going completely fucking bonkers. Same thing with the Indians, but you just gave them their independence. You didn't fucking sick dogs on them. You didn't spray them down with water hoses. You didn't do none of that shit. Full-blown independence. It's yours. You got it. Nuclear powered. You got it. Tell me when they've done anything tantamount like that for black people. I fucking need to know when. When did we become nuclear power and my black ass not know? Because I think I thought I was one of the niggas in the know. Oh, we're not nuclear powered? That never happened? Okay, when the fuck did we get our independence? I didn't say emancipation, I said independence. Oh, no? Damn. So I'm not tripping that much, am I? But yet you have people who look just like me and you, who are the exact perpetrators of Mr. Charlie and Miss Ann behavior, and they don't want to be held accountable. They want you to overlook it. They want you to forgive them. Like I'll tell anybody, I'll forgive you when you're underneath my feet if it's a serious offense. If it's something that really doesn't even require me to forgive you, it just requires me to pardon you, to pardon your trespass, I'll gladly do that. When you're talking about forgiveness now, that means you've done something that typically warrants retribution. Did you know that? Did y'all understand? I mean, do the people know that? The only reason you need to be forgiven is the action that you took requires some form of retribution against your persons. Otherwise, there's no need to forgive you. You've done nothing really that wrong. But if you know you've been up to no good, and you know, and you've been up to no good willfully against your own people, nigga, you deserve everything coming to you. And don't fucking tell me, oh no, Meech, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You did that. You done that. And you deserve every little bit of nothing you're gonna get that's gonna come from the people. Nothing. They don't deserve no love. Nigga, they ain't did nothing for the people. I'm tired of everybody acting like it's okay to be a doormat. You gotta ask God to come back to do something. You gotta want him to come back to help you though. Do y'all understand that part? Y'all get that part? He has to come back to help you. He's not just gonna fucking magically show. When you need somebody's help and they've made it clear, I'm not gonna help you unless you ask for my help. Number one, they've made it clear. Do you understand? They're not coming to help you until you ask for help. Do y'all get that? They're not coming. There will be no help. So until the Most High God hears or is relayed to him by the angel who's going to take up that prayer and say, hey, they're ready. They're ready. We're stuck. If they don't want you to ask the Most High God to help us, my brothers and my sisters, you are officially in white heaven. And if they believe that he cannot help us, just know that you were dealing with a Mr. Charlie or a Mrs. Ann. The Most High God not just going to just show up. You have to ask for his help. You have to request it. He's not just going to show up because he sees you getting done wrong. When you were doing wrong to the nations, when you oppressed other people, did he show up and stop you? Nope. He let you oppress those people. When you commingled yourselves with strangers, did he show up and stop you? Nope. He let you commingle with strangers. One of my favorite, if not my very favorite. The Most High God did not get off the angels to stop the. If the Most High God did not get off the throne to stop the angels from mating with earth women and whatever else, right? Thank you. You have to petition for his presence. He just doesn't just show up like, oh yeah, this looks like a good time to make myself known. That's not how it works. If you don't think that he's going to do anything for you, better yet, you don't think he can do anything for you, why would you ask for help? Right off? Why? What would possess you to ask for help? Nothing. So if you're being told that your God isn't real, if you're being told that everything that you were taught was fake, Bible's fake, history's fake, We don't know what's real. We just know that these white dudes who they say are so-called the founders of America, oh yeah, they're real though. That's all real. But anything before that, I don't know. Unless it has to do with aggrandizing, the Swintillion, then of course, all of that's true. Greeks are white, pink skin. Romans, pig skin. Egyptians, pig skin. Hebrews, pig skin. Right? Persians, pig skin. Right. You let them tell it. Some of these Africans, pig skin. You let them tell it. They'll show white dudes who were supposed to be Nubians in movies. Let them tell it. Native Americans, pigskins. Everybody pigskin. Everybody Swintillion. Everybody. No, none of the people mentioned to being original families on the earth. None of them have brown skin and curly hair. No, not one. We came out of Middle Earth. We're the fucking troglodytes, apparently. Right. They refined us. Straight garbage. And you have individuals who are so mentally ill and so shallow that they can't realize that most of the things that they enjoy came about literally in the last 100 years. Right. Guess who invented it? That's right, those Middle Earth troglodyte dudes. All the music that they enjoy. Guess who invented that? The Middle Earth troglodyte dudes. Yep. The ones with the brown skin and the curly hair. Those troglodytes. Apparently, we got to be Gentiles. But what's crazy is out of all the individuals that are supposed to have been, native to the earth, we made the one music that is literally called Gentiles, right? I mean, soul music, right? Yes, bro. Swintillion. Courtesy of brother Andre Wickham. Okay. The Swintillion. Okay. And they know who they are, right? They know who they are. They know. But apparently, these same Middle Earth dudes who got brown skin and curly ass black hair, sometimes dark brown hair, them dudes came up with this stuff called soul music. They even made this stuff called soul food. But let everybody else tell it, these niggas ain't even got souls. They're not even fucking people. They're the missing link to the ape family, and we standing on that. But hey, I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one who got it all the way wrong. I know. I apologize. Apparently, I was late to the meeting, didn't get the memo right on, totally missed it. Because last time I checked, I thought we were the real people. The true children of Adam with souls, which is why we created soul music and soul food, which is why we created and did everything else on this earth that everyone enjoys. The light that is on right now in my apartment, I thank the Most High God for everything because He's got the ultimate light bulb in the sky every day called the sun, the best light bulb there is. But I know for a fact that a black man, not some dude named Edison, but a black man by the last name of Latimer, was so convinced that he had made his own light bulb and the way he was doing it was so righteous, he wouldn't just give it up. And he let that white dude, Thomas Edison, go on for a decade trying to figure out how to make the light bulb. And finally said, okay, nigga, I'll give you 7% of all the royalties. And I'll say you helped me make it. Now, how do I do it? Carbon filament. That's all it was, a carbon filament. That's how simple it was. That's how easy it was. But the dude with no soul was the one that figured that out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the position we in. But we in a position where black people who literally, and I'm not knocking nobody who's a so-called professional, but it's like I have when I have to do stuff with my hands typically when I work, right? Every once in a while I have a job that's relatively low impact, but typically I'm cooking or I'm doing physical labor. Um, Even the skilled artisan labor I've done, hard work, right? You got to really do stuff with your hands. There's people though that have jobs, they just don't really do very much. The tools do it all. Do they realize? Because you don't have the power to drill right through a tree, or to drill through concrete, or to drill through hard plastic with your fingers, and to do it by hand would take all day and an enormous amount of strength. You'd have to be really in shape to do that kind of shit. Do these guys realize that most people who claim to be hard workers are not even in enough physical shape to do the kind of work that their ancestors did? Right. And got the nerve to be mad at Meech for pointing it out. Right. They let Mr. Charlie let them start thinking arrogant, high-minded, high-handed ways. Excuse me, not so much high-minded, but high-handed. And now they're in a position where they don't really even have the skills. How does that work? How do you not have the real skills? You follow what I'm saying? You don't have to have the skills. The tool is knowing how to use the tool is the skill, not actually knowing the skill to do the job. All you have to do is have the right kind of nail, the right kind of bolt. That's it. The job is done now. Just like that. All you have to do is measure these cuts and cut this many pieces, the same unit of measurement. The job is done. It's not like you have to cut it by hand and actually make sure that you're keeping it in a linear straight, you know what I mean? Striation or line. No, no. It's just like with cooking. Nobody has to start a fire all on their own. So cooking only takes so much skill because I don't have to generate a heat source. So yeah, you gotta know how to cook somewhat, but most people don't have the tools, the know-how, or the understanding to start their own fire. Right. So yeah, you're a world-renowned master chef, but you don't know how to start a fire. That's how useful your skills are, dog. See what I'm saying? That little things like that. I'm cold-blooded. Yes, I know how to start a fire. Yes, I know how to start a fire. Again, I know how to start a fire. So the one thing needed for my most utilized skill set, I actually know how to do. Unlike a lot of people that have probably never used a hand drill, I've used hand drills before. Right on? Niggas ain't never used no chisel, no none of that. I've used all that kind of stuff. So it's just different. You know what I mean? It's different. When I speak to it, I'm speaking from a point of view of I know dudes have never done that. Chimney repair. Let me give y'all a prime example. Chimney repair. Most people can do chimney repair now. The guys who they have doing it, because guess what? You don't have to be a skilled artisan with a hammer and chisel, knocking out the pieces of the old grout that you're gonna replace. That shit takes all day. But with the grinder, no problem. All you gotta do is not eat up the bricks too much and have some face protection, maybe some air pro. Problem solved. See what I'm saying? Setting up a whole, doing your own fence. If you got a nail gun and a drill, setting up a fence is really not that hard. Because all you need is a if you don't have an auger, you still need a post hole digger. People don't even know I know this kind of stuff, but I'm just throwing out the game, right? So a lot of people have skills where they don't even know how to use their skill in the most base level way. That's Mr. Charlie for you. Mr. Charlie thinks he's cool because he can get in a car and drive 80 miles, 80 miles there, 80 miles back. But nigga, you couldn't walk that. Right. So how amazing is it that you got into a piece of witchcraft that transports you at unnormal speeds from one locale to the other? What is really so special about that? It's not like you put those miles on your feet. Thank you. But if I say this, if I act like this, if I act on it, I'm wrong. But if somebody else bring it up, this motherfucker's a genius, savant, they're a maven, they're a sage, they're an expert, they're a pandit, they're all this shit. I say it, niggas hating. Come on, man. You know, but that's the earth we live on. And before I get up out here in this couple of minutes, man, let me just say this right here. Daniel Penny, that white boy, right? As much as he is a Mr. Charlie, you know who else was a Mr. Charlie? That brother and that other white boy who held his hands to die. They right. People like that wasn't a black guy. That was a black dude that helped. What's the brother's name, man? Jordan Neely. Right? They choked him to death. I'm almost positive if they don't hold Neely's hands and arms, he, as weak as they may have thought he was going to be, with his life on the line, he would have fought for his life. Cuz would not have been able to choke him to death. Only a fucking arrogant piece of shit nigga would not stomp on that white boy's face. And I mean, he'll stomp his ass to nothing. Right, because you acting like a white person. Acting like a straight up swine-tillion. Now you know that white boy Daniel Penny, he been in there dealing with a whole bunch of Mr. Charlie ass type niggas who was like, oh man, I would have did the same thing to that nigga. I would have. No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have attacked him from behind like a cat. And if you would have, use a bitch. Use a for real, Mr. Charlie. But for anybody to tell me that they're a man and they would have attacked this dude, I'm talking about not like he's your mortal enemy who knows that it's on site. This is a guy that's clearly having a mental health episode, some sort of breakdown. The nigga was hungry. Nobody tried to say, hey, bro, I got you on the next stop. You could be lying to him just to get him to shut up. Right. Or you could just do the right thing and say, yeah, man, I got you, bro. We're going to get off at the next stop. And I'm going to go get you a hot dog. I'm going to get you a Euro. I'm going to get you something, bro. I'm going to make sure you eat something, man. Right. Nobody did any of that right there. Nobody was compassionate. No act of kindness towards man. They thought taking his life was easier. I mean, fucking A. They thought snuffing his life out was easier. Right. Same thing in the hood. Nigga call himself wanting to get clean. Right? Now niggas want to throw all kinds of shit in his face. He don't want to he don't want to get high no more. Now he trying to get clean. Now y'all niggas want to try to throw shit in his face and trying to force him to still get high. Right. Female don't want to sell her body no more. Right. What you would call a simp. And I always laugh when these dudes call a guy a simp who would actually try to save somebody from a bad situation. But you call anybody else a hero. How that work? She was forced to sell her body at a young age, but yet you're simping. Anyway, the simp is ready to save her, but they don't want her to stop. So they continue to keep her in there, and they'll go and kill that dude or run him off. Right. Wow. Right. Always laugh. Tell me this right here. Of all the black guys who you know who make music that's super duper like denigrating towards women, how many of them are married? A bunch of them. Almost all those niggas is married. Right. Happily married too. At least they say. So my question is how could somebody who's happily married talk about something or encourage something that they would never want to happen to them? Even greater. When the killer, the murderer killer, is actually attempting to turn over a new leaf. People who known this man to be a murderer killer. Now, he should have been smart. She should be smart and just leave that area, leave that town, leave that place. But some people's pride is too strong, and they figure I'm a try to make right with the place I did the most wrong at. Okay, that's fair. This same person who's literally walked away from the violence, walked away from the bloodshed, now a victim of it themselves. And we can't even say it was something that they deserved because when it happens to them, they weren't in the midst of doing something wrong. Right on? They're literally like, I'm walking away from this. I'm leaving this. Get killed. Or even worse yet, motherfucker who done paid them to kill people turns them into the police with no real proof that they've ever paid this person to commit these crimes. How can you implicate them? Even if you trying to implicate them, they're gonna say, "Now you're a snitch." Right? I don't want to sell dope no more, like I said, but they don't want to let him out. Just like the dude who doesn't want to do the dope anymore, but they don't want to let him go. So how are these individuals who are a detriment to black people any different than white folks? And these are white black people that are around you every day. So you know they're way more capable of doing something that is a detriment to you and I than they're not capable. One of the greatest sins, if not the greatest sin that a man can achieve against his brother and his sisters is sowing seeds of discord among brethren. Word? That's one of the most vile things you can ever do. It is. Because it encompasses so many other sins that a person should never commit. Because chances are there's a reason for the sowing of the seeds of discord. When we finally get to a place as a people where we can realize that seeds of discord have not only been sown from without, but they've been sown from within, we have no the answer. We're not going to all be able to sell our way out of this. So if every black person became a dope dealer, who's going to do the drugs? We're going to go sell them to other races? Are they really going to go for that? Right. Probably not. So that leads you to what? So then we're back to selling it to ourselves. The other people, if we all went out and vehemently applied for work and somehow all got jobs, everybody would. We all couldn't get jobs. There's not enough jobs to go around, not enough money to go around, not enough qualified peoples. But even if the people got jobs they were qualified to do, they still would not make enough money to sustain themselves. No person should have to work two jobs or three jobs or four jobs or five and a bunch of other little side hustles and gigs to make it by. You should be able to work one job virtually your whole life. That job should pay you enough to where when it's time to walk away from working, you can walk away from the work. The job should pay you so much to where some of the money that they're paying you, you know, is money meant for you to just go full off. So you get the urge to go spend and splurge from time to time is already met. But that's not how it works. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm really about the Mr. Charlies of the black community have only about 4 years left of the stuff that they see going on. Some of these sorry ass niggas is gonna try to help vote this dude Trump in, forgetting what he was saying about the crime in Chicago, forgetting what he was saying about crime in all urban cities all across the US. Right. All those arrogant, high handed black people, you know, the dope dealers, the pimps, the murderers, who were registered to vote, are going to vote that piece of shit in because they think he's on their side. Because guess who they want to be like? That's right. When they try to say that all black people, black people identify with Trump. Why? How the fuck could I identify with him? I don't have blonde hair or blue eyes. I could never identify with him. He can identify with me. Yeah, we got certain shit. We got a few things in common, but we don't have enough in common for me to ever even consider voting. You'll be triple damned if you do, and only double damned if you don't. So I'd rather just be double damned, where they say you should have voted. Right. Not as opposed to you voted for Trump. Right. Because what do you think this is setting shit up for? We're a scapegoat already. We're already the scapegoat. We've always been the scapegoat. I said all that to say that. Those Mr. Charlies and those Miss Anns gonna show up for that dude D Treasy. They're gonna vote his ass in. Watch. Hmm. Black people are gonna take the lesser evil approach and still be met with evil in the end. My brothers and my sisters, man, I appreciate you for all your time. I salute you. I salute you once more for your stalwart efforts and for you going out there and defending the honor of your people. And I salute you once more. Until that great day, until that great, terrible day, may tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. Don't ever be afraid to look your enemy in the face if they look just like you and let them know they're acting like the enemy without. I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later. We'll be at this soon, and then be looking for a biblical piece to complement the war on the war on Transformers. Right on. It's it's coming. It's not really a war on them. It's really, you know, I, I just can't rock with all that. But it's coming. Look for it.